What had so much hype about it, but was actually terrible?
The Power Glove. If you weren't there at the time, you can't imagine how awesome NES kids thought that this thing was going to be. Then you finally played something with one, and tried convince yourself that it was indeed awesome before slowly, oh so slowly, accepting that it was lame as hell.
Olistra was a fat substitute that had no calories. Chips would have no fat content and less calories. It was a craze until they realized it gave everyone the poos. Like for some people a few handful were enough for explosive zero-warning uncontainable poos.
The news called it anal leakage. Laughing face.
Some years back, there was some asshole that hyped up a huge live event of him being eaten by a snake in a digestion-proof suit. I thought it was incredibly stupid, but kept hearing about from coworkers. The day after the event, I hear he bitched out as it was working on swallowing him. So they had to kill the snake to save his dumb ass. Edit, it was eaten alive, a Discovery Channel special. The guy was Paul Rosalie, and supposedly the snake did not get killed. He had to make the snake defend itself to even attack him, as it wasn't interested in him when he acted like prey.
I remember that poo. So far this is the only one of these hype things I actually paid attention to. Google+.
I met my husband on Google+, which is pretty embarrassing to explain to people. Anthem. The flight mechanics and Iron Man-ish, badass feeling of huge explosions and gameplay is so damn cool to have just let it rot in a gutter. What a waste, such potential.
I know someone who is a voice actor who voiced a character in Anthem. They pretty much said that it was great to be in the booth recording the lines. The director was very encouraging and was saying how great the performance was and how they're going to get some great animation for the character. Once the game was out, my friend looked up their character on YouTube to find their performance was paired with some generic looped animation that didn't really match the character at all. They were quite disappointed. I assume there were some budget cuts mid-production.
2020. Remember that meme showing how all the holidays were on weekends?
At least Cinco de Mayo was on Taco Tuesday and the whole entire month of April was 420 instead of just a day.
Geraldo Rivera opening Al Capone's safe.
I watched it live, and laughed my ass off. He dug himself such an epic hole with all of the desperate hype leading up to the big reveal.
Quibi. I saw ads and promotions for it constantly for months leading up to its release, and they had some pretty famous celebrities in the shows. Then it disappeared after like a month of its release.
The company I worked for at the time offered a choice, free Netflix or free Quibi. After looking at thousands of accounts, I saw one that had chosen Quibi over Netflix. 3D TV.
I had a 3D TV. I think I used that feature once.
New Year's Eve, every year.
Coney 2012.
Proof that it does take a little more than awareness to solve the world's problems.
Google Glass got a lot of hype, but then it was gone.
Back when Google Glass had beta testers, I met a guy at a conference that was a tester. It seemed kind of cool at first, but I found myself being weirded out with every conversation we had. Imagine knowing someone who is always holding their phone up as if they're constantly recording everything you do. Are you gonna feel comfortable talking to that person, or are you gonna be wondering if and why they're recording everything and what they're gonna do with those videos? That's the feeling that Google Glass gave me from the other end, and I feel like Google really didn't understand how weird it was to be on the outside looking in.
Mini CDs.
I was stationed in Japan and had one over there. It was awesome. I could put like 5 hours of music on one disc, and they were so small and compact and easy to carry a bunch around.
I feel like hoverboards were seriously misnamed. I expected Back to the Future, not Back to the Hospital with bone fractures.
I think the creators just wanted to laugh at all the videos of people falling on their asses.
That one pizza party specifically in our elementary school.
Like 8 boxes of pizza and they limit us to 2 slices each. But each slice was actually one regular slice cut in half. And no seconds. Even though there's 4 untouched boxes. Yeah, F that.
TED. Back in the early 2000s, billboards went up all over Denver saying, "TED is coming. Are you ready for TED?" and a whole bunch of other cryptic TED stuff. Nobody knew who or what TED was. It escalated to the point everyone was talking about TED. Turns out TED was an airline. It lasted like a month. And failed.
Everyone is saying, Gabbo this, and Gabbo that.
Ooh yeah.
SpongeBob Sweet Victory music but got switched to Travis Scott, Sicko Mode, in the Super Bowl.
That one hockey rink's got you covered.
Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Glad I didn't pay for it.
I didn't even know this had hype. I thought it was an April Fool's joke and then just a weird publicity stunt.
Segways. Not necessarily terrible, but incredible, over-the-top hype.
Interestingly though, segways paved the way for a host of other personal electric vehicles. Especially self-balancing ones.
Good point. Like much of technology, I suppose. I just remember constantly hearing how it was going to revolutionize getting around.
2020.
2021 was supposed to rock after 2020 and it most definitely has not.
Fire Festival. Link.
Shout out to the one time there was a dude who went on record to say he was the only dude who enjoyed Fire Festival, because he won the ability to go in a giveaway and seeing a bunch of rich snobs in misery was incredibly funny to him.
Those Google glasses. Whatever happened to them?
Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Facebook have all gotten patents on them in the last 2 years. It's coming.
Rating Area 51.
The Naruto runner made it all just stupid funny.
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Awful, and I don't actually believe it's part of HP.
Basically everything after the last movie has been him milking the franchise and ruining it. New game looks good though.
Anthem video game. F in the chat for my buddy who dropped $90 United States dollars on a shiny disc.
Hands Across America.
My mom was a teacher in LA when this happened. She said the school she worked at organized buses to Skid Row in downtown LA, I guess to show solidarity with the homeless? She said after the long chain of hand-holding and it was over, a man experiencing homelessness asked, "Am I supposed to feel different now?" I was like 8 when this happened.
Adulthood. I'd like a refund.
No Man's Sky at launch. Granted, it got a lot better afterwards.
The redemption arc for No Man's Sky is surreal. Better plot than most movies.
Game of Thrones Season 8.
So much bullpoo in that show meant nothing in the end. Like the writers were just writing episode to episode as they were shooting them. Just an example. Sam stealing his father's sword for absolutely no goddamn reason.
Area 51 Raid.
The live-action remake of The Lion King. It had no soul. It was terrible. The Lion King in the early 90s was my favorite movie as a kid. I was so disappointed in the new one, and I usually love whatever Jon Favreau does.
To that point, the live action of Mulan was also awful. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but when I was turning 18, the legal adult age to drink in Canada, I was hyped about clubbing and parties and bar hopping, only to find out it's way more of a pain than it's worth. You go out and spend $100 or more on watered-down expensive-ass drinks and pooty music, then walk in the freezing cold to the next place. Plus the Uber, taxi home. Not worth it.
The 2012 Apocalypse. Update. I did not anticipate this being that popular, but I guess that, at the current time, 43,000 plus people who made this my most popular comment of all time. Thanks. Also to whoever donated gold and silver, y'all are some real ones.
The entire 2012 apocalypse was just bad logic to me. It was the end of the Mayan calendar. What's more likely, they predicted the end of the world, or they looked at each other and said, "Hey, we're 1,000 years ahead, should we call it a day and get some drinks?"
Suicide Squad. Movie was so hyped like it was the second coming of Jesus. Then we saw Leto lol.
I am not into superhero movies, and the hype got to me. We went, and we were perplexed the entire time. Then I was validated because everyone else was confused too. Then came the memes.
The metaverse, probably.
Space Jam 2. It was hyped to be Gen Z's Space Jam, but it ended up being a typical Hollywood nostalgia cash cow. Thank you for watching. We upload new videos every day, so be sure to come back for more fun. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the video.